Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I'm back with a new layout for Hip Kit Club and I'm using the 2020 May kits again. And I'm going to start this layout with another sheet of the colored cardstock from the cardstock kit. And I've already got my picture chosen. It's a pool photo and I chose this background color because it matched the water in this photo perfectly. And I already kind of have an idea what I want to do because of the way my daughter is facing in the photo. I know I want the picture over on the right side of the layout, so it's going to look like she's looking across the page. And so that instantly gave me an idea. I definitely want to use lots of pinks, yellows, and oranges. Since I've got a lot of this light aqua color in the cardstock and in the picture, I want lots of other colors to showcase that. And I feel like using contrasting colors like this really makes everything pop. It's going to make the aqua pop, it's going to make all these bright other colors pop, and it's going to make the picture pop. And I know you saw me there in just a second ago. I was showing you the pink tissue paper that we got in the kits. When I opened my kits earlier this month, I was so excited because they were wrapped up in this hot pink tissue paper, and I immediately knew I had to use that on a layout. So I'm going to use it in some way on this layout. And I'm just going to start by pushing these little squares around. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with them. I'm just going to start with that. So I'm going to add gesso to my cardstock, and I accidentally grabbed the clear gesso, and you can see here that it's clear. I meant to grab the white gesso, but I'm going to leave this in here because I'm going to show you the difference in between using clear gesso on a colored sheet of cardstock versus using white. So you can see here it's dry, it's completely clear, you can't even see it. But whenever I have a colored background and I'm going to add mixed media to it, I like to use white gesso, and you can see the difference here right away. The white gesso is going to sort of fade out some of the color. It's going to give me a little bit of white space to add other color onto. Both the gessos do the same thing as far as prepping the paper and creating a barrier between the paint or the watercolor or the liquid and the paper. But, you know, if you're going to use clear, you're going to have the exact color of the cardstock showing through versus the white. The white is going to sort of white it out, and it's going to allow everything that I add to it to look a little bit more true to color, if that makes sense. And you can see the difference there with the white, it dried white. So I'm going to start to build this background, and I'm going to start with a lot of texture. And this is one of the Vicki Boutin stencils that we get in the color kit. There are 3 stencils in one pack, and this one's really cute. It reminds me of little sunshines or the tops of umbrellas. And actually, what inspired me to use this stencil was our mood board for this month. I don't know if you've seen it yet. It's over on the Facebook group for Hip Kit Club, and there's one of the pictures on the mood board is a shot of a bunch of beach umbrellas, and this stencil reminded me of the tops of those umbrellas. And so I just want to create lots of bumpy, awesome texture on the background. And so I'm using a palette knife and some modeling paste, and I'm just scraping it right over the stencil. And when you peel the stencil off, you get the coolest texture and the coolest shapes. And when it dries, when you touch it, it's really rough and bumpy, and it looks so cool when you add color on top of it. You can kind of see there how that looks. And I'm going to go just horizontally straight across the paper here, and yeah, just kind of fill up a lot of this gessoed area with this stencil. And I don't know if you can see it from here, but there's a little tone of yellow in that side on the left that I just did there with the modeling paste, because I used this stencil on another layout where I used my ink blending tool with the yellow, and apparently I forgot to clean the stencil. Surprise, surprise. And so a little bit of yellow mixed into the modeling paste, but it was fine. I thought it looked kind of cool. So I let all that dry, and then I did a few more up at the upper left and the lower right to kind of just make it uneven a little bit. And I'm going to let that finish drying, and I'm going to start to fussy cut some more things out. So my main three colors here are pink, orange, and yellow. And so I just sorted through all the papers, found this paper from Pink Paisley that I had not used yet with these gorgeous roses. And so I'm going to fussy cut out a few pink ones, I think one orange one, and a yellow one. And my thought was just to kind of go horizontally across the page and layering a bunch of things together. And so far, this is what I've come up with. I want to use some of the Stamp Market items. This is a Stamp Market paper. It's got orange on it, so I'm going to try to layer that in there. I fussy cut out that pink and white tag from another Stamp Market paper. And I'm just going to kind of keep going and see where this takes me. Once I had that much on the background, I noticed that you couldn't really see any of these circles from the modeling paste on this side right here on the left. So I went ahead and added a couple more, because even though most of them in the middle are going to be hidden from all the layers that I'm going to add, I still want all of these circles to be visible, you know, kind of above everything, below everything, maybe on the sides. So I just kind of like to bring everything and, you know, sit it on top of the background and see how it looks, because sometimes you feel like you've already added too much to the background, but turns out you haven't added enough, because when you put things back on top of it, you can't even see it. So I wound up adding way more than I thought I would. All right, so the entire background is dry, and my thought was I wanted to make that deeper aqua color that's in the picture. So I'm going to pull out some blues and greens from previous kits. These are all three Lindy's sprays that we've gotten months ago in the color kits. Let's see, I used Tiffany Lou Blue, I used Blue Hawaiian Blue, and then the greenish aqua color is called Mad Hatter Mint. And when you mix all of those together, they make a really pretty aqua color, and it's going to be the perfect shade of the deepest aqua that's in my picture. And I'm just spraying it down. I spritzed it with water, and then I just pick up the paper and turn it this way and that way and let it run and bleed together. And you can see how it runs all around that modeling paste. And so the shape that you have on there from the paste is going to instantly just become visible. And I love that about modeling paste and stencils, because it just creates the coolest look. And so I'm just trying to get kind of a wash of this color. I added in a drop of the Art Philosophy green color that we got last month, and that color is called Lucky. And it's a little bit greener than I wanted, but that's the beauty of this, is I'm able to mix it with other colors to create the exact shade that I want. And you see how easily this is all running together? It's not just drying and soaking through the paper. That's because of the gesso. And in this case, I have 2 layers of gesso, which I didn't intend on doing. But, you know, I can add quite a lot of water to this, and it's going to be okay, because the gesso kind of, you know, protects the paper. And it eventually does dry, but it doesn't just soak right through immediately. So yeah, I'm going to keep working on that and get it to where I like it. And this is another option to help push the color around, is to get a heat tool, kind of like a hair dryer or a heat blending tool, not heat blending tool, just a heat tool, and it blends the color. That's what I was trying to say. So most of that is dry. You can kind of see how it's the same color, but it's just a little bit darker, and it kind of looks like water the way it is around the edges. And I decided that I wanted to add some splatters of the pink, the orange, and the yellow. So I'm mixing in some of those Art Philosophy colors that we got last month, the pink and the yellow, the blush and the honey, and I'm just going to mix it with some white acrylic paint, so it's going to be nice and soft, and then just flick it around on the brush. I'm going to do the pink on the left, and then orange in the middle, and yellow on the right. And I didn't want this to be super dark or super bold, because I've got so many shades of pink and so many shades of orange and yellow that I just wanted this to be, you know, a little bit of added detail to the background. So I'm going to mix in some of the yellow with the pink to make an orange color, and do the same thing with the splatters. And this is going to dry very, very well because it's acrylic paint, and so it's not going to fade away when it dries. And it's very subtle, you know, it's not something that's going to overpower the background or completely change it. And when you hold your brush closer to the background paper and then tap it with your pointer finger, you're going to get those little teeny tiny splatters. Whereas if you hold the brush up higher and you just flick it with one hand, you're going to get a little bit bigger splatters like that. So it depends on the look you want. That's how you get the tiny splatters right there. Or you can use a toothbrush. I've yet to do that. I know I've seen other scrappers do that, and I always forget to get a toothbrush whenever I start my layout. So I just wind up using my brush, and yeah. Okay, so the background is going to finish drying. Look at this pink tissue paper. It's so pretty. Oh, it's gorgeous. I'm going to fold up some here into a little messy border backing layer behind my picture, and I love how that looks. So I'm going to start with that and then just kind of start to rebuild this background. I don't want to cover up the entire background, like I said, because, you know, I want it to show. I made it for a reason, but it does, some of it does get covered up, and that's usually the way it goes with backgrounds because, you know, you want to use pattern papers and you want to use embellishments, and I love it when you can see all of that kind of around the edges and around everything. Here's another thing you can do to add a little bit of texture to items is to ruffle up the edges using an edge distressor. And if you don't have an edge distressor, you can use the edge of your scissors. It does the same thing. And this just sort of tears and scrapes the edges to make them a little weathered and distressed looking. I decided to go through all of the sticker sheets, all of the other things that we have in the kits, and just picked out things that were pink, yellow, and orange, and I'm going to go through those later and see where they might fit. And I wind up using quite a bit of them, but not all of them. I decided that I needed more layers behind the picture, so I went ahead and added some white tissue paper and then one of the light orange pocket life cards, and then I'm going to layer that on top of the hot pink tissue paper. And even though you can barely see the orange pocket life card behind the photo, it still makes a big difference, I think, because you can see it. It's just very subtle. And sometimes it's just those little subtle things that make the biggest differences, I think. All right, so I'm going to move the background because it was so textured that everything kept getting caught when I was trying to do my layers and my tucking. So I just moved the background, and I'm going to try to build the bulk of this page without the background. So I'm pulling in some of the Amy Tangerine die cuts, that glittery yellow frame. This is a pocket life card that mimics that Stamp Market square paper. I'm going to cut some of that and use that. I'm going to try to tuck in some of those flowers that I fussy cut and just start to build everything and see how it looks. And this is part of the fun of, you know, going through your kits. Just picking things out that coordinate with your idea and then just playing around with them and seeing how you like it. Because sometimes the idea in your mind is totally different when you start to build it. You know, some things look better than you imagined, sometimes it looks worse, and sometimes it's just right. So you just got to play around with it. Ideas change as you go. I'm trimming off some of the white border around that cute little flamingo, and I'm going to do the same thing with this little palm tree sticker. And those are from the Dear Lizzy sticker sheets. But I've been wanting to use those little palm tree stickers since my first layout, and I'm finally going to do it today. All right, so before I move all of this around, I want to glue it together because I was tired of rebuilding it every 5 minutes, it felt like. So I'm going to go ahead and attach it and glue it together as best I can, so then I can move it all around as one big thing, and I don't have to worry about redoing it every time. I found that cute little stripe sticker there, kind of a little border sticker on the Dear Lizzy sticker sheet, and it matched my color scheme, so I'm going to use that. And I was just in a mood to layer things, so that is what I did. And I love these colors together. They're so sunny and summery and warm. And like I said earlier, they're the perfect contrast to that aqua color. And I think that's why I love scrapping pool photos so much, is it's so fun to mix and match all these fun bright summer colors with the blue that's always in the water. And it always depends on the day or the time of day when I take pool photos, because sometimes the water looks aqua, sometimes the water looks more of like a sky blue. It all depends. You know, I have a ton of pool photos, and it seems like every time the water is a different color, and it just totally depends on the day. So everything is glued together. I'm going to pull it back, put it right back on top of the background, and now I can move things around a lot easier. All right, so now, oh yeah, I did some stitching. I used some orange and some pink thread there just to add a little bit of detail. I really want to use that Hello Sunshine sticker. My issue with it at this point is that Sunshine was written in navy blue, and I did not have any navy blue on this layout. So I thought, do I want to use that? Because that adds another color that I don't have. And if I add another color, then I need to add it in a couple other places. So that was my dilemma. So in the meantime, I put it aside. I started to work in some other embellishments, some stickers. I finally decided I did want to use the Hello Sunshine, which meant that I needed to add some more navy. In my mind, it did anyway. So I pulled out a shimmers that we got, I don't even remember how long ago, but we got it in a kit at some point, probably 2 years ago. It's a Vibes called Deep Blue Sea. It's the perfect navy blue color to match that Hello Sunshine. So I just sprayed it in a couple spots on the background, and I think it works perfectly because it's going to pull in that sunshine color from that sticker, and it's going to just kind of make everything come together a little bit better, I think. Because it bugs me if I have one thing of one color. You know, I've got a ton of pink, a ton of orange, a ton of yellow, a lot of the aqua, and then one thing that's navy blue. I feel like I need more of that color. And so what I'm going to wind up doing is putting in a couple things of that navy blue scattered around the page, and so it kind of pulls it all together. These are just some little stickers that I had pulled off the Dear Lizzie sticker sheet and that pink paisley sticker sheet. I love these little thick foam stickers that are glittery from Amy Tangerine. I'm going to use a couple of those as well. I'm actually going to use a bow. I find bows challenging to use for me, and I don't even know why. I see other people use the bows, and they're awesome. But whenever I go to use a bow, it just doesn't seem to work. I don't know why, but I'm going to use that yellow bow as a layer. I did punch a hole in that pink tag. I've been meaning to do that, and finally did that because I'm going to put some cord in it later to finish it off. And here's my original small title. I thought I was going to use Hello Sunshine as my title, but it is going to go right there, and I popped it up with some foam. And then I found this sticker, and it's perfect because it's also navy blue, and I popped it up. It says Summer Vibes, so that's another little piece of the navy that I can add to pull in from that sunshine sticker. And I'm just gluing things down here. I'm starting very slowly, gluing down a couple of small things at a time. And then here comes the thread. This is another way that I got in the navy blue, is by using thread, and I think this was the perfect addition. I add it right here at the bottom below the picture. And this navy blue is an example of something that just happened as I started making the page. I had no intention of putting a dark blue color on this layout. I wanted it to be bright, pink, orange, yellow, and aqua. That's it. But then when I saw that Hello Sunshine sticker, I loved how it looked. And so that instantly changed my original plan. And I knew right away, I have to use this. I have to add in some navy blue. And it wound up being the perfect thing, I think, for me. Yeah, it's funny how that happens, you know? It's just interesting how your ideas change, and sometimes they work out for the best. And I think this was one of those instances for this particular page. All right, I'm going to glue down the big chunks here. Very careful not to move the thread because I have it tangled up just like I want it to look. I'm going to use a lot of glue because I've got a very textured and bumpy background. So I want to make sure I get a lot of glue on there so it's all stuck nice and flat. I did flatten it out a little bit off camera using a big paper pad to make sure it was all glued down. And then I ruffled up, or not ruffled up, but just bent up the edges of the flowers. So I'm going to use the words pool party over here to the left from these bright pink thickers. And then a couple of these little Stamp Market phrase stickers, because they're just too cute and they're the perfect match. There's yellow, there's orange, there's pink, there's aqua. Again, everything matches, makes it so hard to pick because so many things look perfect in every spot. What else? Yeah, I tried one there, it didn't work, so I put it back. I accidentally found this stuck to the back of another tag, and you know what? It's navy blue, so I'm going to just cut off the tag part and stick it over to the right, because now I have two tags and one of them is the navy blue. And so now you can see how I have pulled in little parts of the navy blue color to scatter around. I've got the sunshine up top, that tag to the right, that sticker and some thread to the left. It was meant to be, I think. And then I'm going to use this little piece that I cut off from the tag, a very small little strip over here to the left of the pink tag. And it looks like a little teeny tiny layer of blue, but it gives the perfect pop of that color right over there. All right, so here was my dilemma. I wanted another title, but I felt like these pink thickers were so pink and I had plenty of pink already. So I wanted to change the color up. And I absolutely love how this turned out. I used my finger in some white gesso and layered a couple of layers of it right on top of here. I just like blew it dry and then added some more with my finger. You can still see a little bit of the pink, but what I'm going to do is take these two ink pads, very lightly just touch the pad to the letters here, yellow and blue. Those are from Stamp Market in this month's color kit. And they look so cool. I was so excited with how that turned out. It was the perfect thing to do because I felt like I had a lot of pink going on and I wanted more yellow and orange. And these turned out great. Super easy to do. And so you can kind of see a little bit of the pink through there, but you would never know that they matched the this sticker that says days. That's going to be my title, Fun Days. But they look totally different, even though they started out looking the exact same. So if you have some thickers that you want to change the color, use some white gesso and either use some paint, or in this case, I used ink pads and it worked great. And you'll be able to see how cool they look in the close-up pictures here in just a minute. But yeah, I just went with a simple short title, Fun Days. I like this because the fonts are different and it fit perfectly in that area and they matched. I am going to come back with some of the blue splatters, very subtle, not very, bold. I kind of dabbed it up so they were more subtle and not dark. More thread. I'm adding some orange and then some yellow up at the top by the sunshine sticker. I have to have as much thread as possible, right? I knew something was missing and yep, it was thread because I'm addicted to thread. Crazy, I know. I'm going to come in with some more splatters of the pink, and I'm using the Art Philosophy colors again that we got last month, and then I'm going to mix the pink and the yellow together for some orange. Last thing I'm going to do, almost done, I'm going to add in my journaling, and I'm going to draw the lines down here under the word days and use my gold metallic pen. And then I added the date, and that is it. I love how this turned out. I know I say that every time, but I really do. I love how you can see the background texture and all that aqua peeking around the edges, and you can see all of that fun modeling paste through the stencil, all the fun textures and colors. I love that flamingo. He's so cute. There you can see how fun turned out. That was so easy to do, and I was pleasantly surprised how easy that was to change the color of those thickers. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was fun. I really, really do love making backgrounds and just getting messy and experimenting with things and seeing how different products react on different colors and different papers and things. So I hope you got some inspiration out of this. Maybe you learned a new technique or you got some ideas to try for your next layout. But yeah, the close-ups just keep coming. I take so many of them. I can't help it. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you have a great week.